I went from making almost $0 to a top 2% producer with over 120 million streams and making 10K a month as a trap producer within a year. In this video, I'm going to walk you through what I did and how you can do the same thing. So the first thing I want to do is just to go through some mindset stuff and kind of manage your expectations around this. So I want to start by saying that this is simple, but it's not easy. The steps are straightforward. Implementing and sticking to them is what's hard. So when you're going about this journey, what's going to happen is that 80 to perhaps even 90% of outreaches, sessions, beats, and songs that you work on, that you spend your time on, that you put your all into, will go absolutely nowhere. People will flake, you will be ignored, you will be criticized, you will go into sessions, artists will roast you, that can happen, and records will fall through. A lot of the work that you put in will never see the light of day. I made over 3,000 beats. I probably made thousands of songs. I do not have 1,000 releases. And that is just the game that you're playing. And then as you're playing this game, you're gonna lose friends. You're gonna lose comfort. You're gonna lose free time. And you're gonna lose your current lifestyle. Because in order to make this work, you're gonna have to give up so much time, so much effort that you won't be able to keep a normal person's lifestyle. You won't be able to go out on weekends. You won't be able to hang out with your friends all the time. You will spend a lot of your time alone in a room making beats, doubting if they even are good or not. You'll spend a lot of time in sweaty ass studio sessions making songs that might never see the light of day, and that's going to be the majority of your time. You will be tired. You will feel like nothing's working. And that is normal. I would even say that is required to make this work. And if you're not willing to make these trades, if you're not willing to spend all of your time pursuing this goal of becoming a full-time music producer, then this is not for you. And that is totally fine. But just know the trade-offs. This is going to be hard. This is going to be difficult. You're going to have to spend a lot of time and effort. But if the thought of being a full-time music producer, going out successful on the other side, weighs heavier than the sacrifices and the work that you have to put in now, then this is 100% for you, and then you should definitely pursue it. And I want to end this on a little bit of a positive note, which is that the only way to fail is to quit. If you stay in the game and you stay consistent and you actually give yourself a chance, then you will succeed eventually. Like, for context, while I was on this grind, I spent a year living inside of a studio. They had a shower, they had everything that was needed. I slept on the couch. I did that for a year without seeing any major results for it. I was even about to quit myself until that's when I had a record that hit the charts, and that changed everything. And that made me realize, like, okay, this is actually working. It's just that it takes time for things to work. By the way, if I didn't completely scare you off right now, then I'd like to invite you to my free community. You can join that. The link is going to be in the description, and you're going to be able to get help and learn more about producing full time and making this your career. So here's the community. We're in here helping each other out, sharing tips, and it's just a great time overall. So if you want to make this journey a little bit easier, you're welcome to join. Now that your expectations are set, let's get into how you can actually make this a full-time thing. Once you know what you're in for, you decided to make this work, then step number 2 is that you need a good product. So in this context, of course, your beats are your product, and a great product is required to succeed. Now, a great product in this context isn't necessarily having the most advanced, cool sounding, cleanest sounding beat with the best mixing and the best tools. It's really not about that. A great product is just a beat that will make a great song. That is all that matters, because at the end of the day, songs is what we're working towards. Songs are what keeps the music industry moving, and the beats are made to become songs. So you want to optimize your beats to become great songs. And the way you do that is by making it easy to rap on, first of all. That's pretty obvious. You want it to match the artist vibe. Essentially, you just want to make the right beat for the right person at the right time. So the way that I did that, and by the way, all of this is just like, I'm not saying this is the way to do it. I'm saying this is the way I did it. And if you feel like this makes sense to you, then follow it. So just to get back on track here. So what I did was that I studied the market to figure out what works and why it works. So typically what I do is that what I do is go to the top 50 charts on Spotify. You can even see here I have the top 50 charts saved and pinned on my Spotify. So you want to pick a top 50 charts that's relevant to you. If you're in the US, you probably go to the billboards. If you're in Europe, Spotify is great. So you can check the charts here on Spotify. And for example, if you're in Germany, go in Germany, you listen to all of these songs. And I used to dedicate time to do this daily. So you listen to all of these songs, and while you're listening to them, think about, okay, why do people like this? What is it about this that people like? And take note of the sound selection, the drum patterns, the tempos, the chord progressions being used, all of that. Take note of that. If you have to, sit down and really analyze them. But you just want to figure out what works and study it. Like study the greats, study the people ahead of you. And I promise you that this will teach you way more about music than any tutorial ever will. Of course, granted that you're an advanced producer. But if you're not an advanced producer, you shouldn't even be thinking about this. You should just be focusing on making beats that are even decent to begin with. But I'm guessing that if you're watching this video and you're at the point where you really want to make this a career, then you are going to be pretty advanced. So basically, top 50 charts, Billboard, big songs. We can also just, if a big artist releases a song, study that shit. Figure out why it works, what people like about it, figure out how you can put that into your own music. And what I usually look for is sound selection, drum patterns, tempos, chord progressions. That is usually what I look at. Then you can even take it one step further. Like whenever I found a song that I really, really liked, and I felt like, I wish I made this song. Then I would use that as a reference and actually model it. So make something in a similar vibe that isn't a straight up copy, but be very inspired by it, because you're going to learn a ton that way, and you're also going to be modeling what works, and that's going to make your beats automatically better. So by doing this, you're going to figure out what works. And then once you know that, this isn't just going to be an automatic fix, because you also need to implement it. And that's where you need to put the reps in. The more beats you make, the better you'll get. Every time you're making a beat, you're actually practicing. With each beat, you're going to be able to tell, okay, this I did good, this I did bad, what do I want to do differently next time, and you learn. And that's a feedback loop. Now, the more of those feedback loops that you have, the better you'll get. I've never met a producer who's really good and understands these things that hasn't made a lot of beats. And when I say a lot, it definitely depends on where you're at in your journey. But if you have nothing else to do, and it's like you work your 9 to 5 and then the rest of the day is free, then it's like 5 beats a day. Then it's like you can make 5 beats a day without overthinking. And if you don't overthink each beat, but rather focus on making more, I've seen that generally that ends up with more better beats than bad beats. When you're doing all of these things, like you're analyzing the charts, you're understanding what works, you're implementing it, you're applying it, you're really putting the reps in, then you want to improve over time by looking at successful patterns in your own music and then do more of that. So for example, if you make a beat, you get your first artist on it. Then figure out, okay, why did that artist like it? How can I do more of that? Then you get the next artist. And then you start looking at, okay, all of the beats that gets picked, they have these things in common. Let me do more of those things on my beats. Then a step further from that, you start releasing songs and you notice like, okay, cool. Whenever I do these 3 things in my beats, like whenever I use these chord progressions, whenever I structure them in this certain type of way, whenever I use these certain types of sounds, the songs perform better. Okay, let me do more of that. By looking at your successes, you're gonna learn what's working for you and what isn't. And then you can even cross-reference it with what you hear on the charts. If you have a successful song, listen to the songs on the charts, see if they have commonalities. They're gonna have commonalities. And then you know like, okay, this is what's working. Let me do more of that. And that is really how you develop a great product in terms of your beat making and in terms of your beats. Now, a great product means nothing if nobody is using that product. And that is where step 3 comes in, which is vertical networking. The saying, your network is your net worth, might sound corny, but in this case, it's more true than ever. Because the network that you have is what gives you the opportunity to get paid. And the reason it is like that is because the money in the music industry is with the people who are making numbers. Now, with that said, have I worked with these worldwide artists like, I don't know, Bad Bunny and Drake. No, I haven't. But what I have done is that I work with big artists who have 500K to 1 million monthly listeners. And I know that if you get to that point, that is where there's enough money for you to actually make something from this. And you get to these artists and you get to this point by building a strong brand. And that strong brand is built through having a strong network. So I feel like branding as a producer has been overly complicated. I think there's been an overemphasis on looking cool on social media, making content, and basically feeling like you need to become a social media clown or an influencer. I know people have seen success with that, but in my experience, that isn't necessarily true when your goal is placements, making money, and growing a good brand. The way I've seen it is that a strong brand is really built through having a strong network. And the reason it works like that is because think of a person like Metro Boomin. You know of Metro Boomin because of the songs he made, and he got the songs through the network that he has. By developing a strong network, you're going to make high-performing big songs that people know, people recognize you for producing, and that is going to grow your brand more than anything, at least in my experience. So the way that you get a strong network is by networking vertically. And networking vertically simply means that you network with people who are one step ahead of you. So I'm talking artists who are small, but probably and hopefully connected to artists who are bigger, because that's your way in. And then when you network with these people, you deliver a great product to these people, and that's how you level up. And the way that you level up is that you deliver a great product, they're going to release it, people are going to like it, and then one or two things are going to happen. A, they release the song, it gets a little bit of attention, and then you leverage that attention by reaching out to their friends, to their bigger artist friends, etc., while that is hot, so that you can get them in and start working with them. Thing number two that also happens a lot is that once you've done that, the other artists that are in their circle, the bigger people, they're going to hear that. They're going to be like, wow, that was really good. I want to work with this guy too. Does that mean that it happens instantly? No, it happens over time. But by staying in the game and consistently working with these people and consistently delivering a great product, a great service, that will happen. At least that is how it works for me. And that's why networking and branding goes hand in hand, because this creates a self-reinforcing loop. So networking will give you connections in the form of proof, releases, and achievements. Then that feeds your brand, right? Because you get this release, you post it, you show it to the world. People are like, oh, he's working with so-and-so now? That's awesome. I want to work with him too. And that strengthens your brand. And then that means that you can then leverage that to network again, but network with even bigger artists. You then make bigger songs, which feeds your brand, strengthens that, and you kind of just climb like this. So the way that you go about doing this in practicality is that you start by going to big artists like their Instagram, look at who they're following, the small people, like find the smallest you can to start with, reach out to them, build relationships, like build working relationships with them, give them beats, provide value in the form of great music and great service. Then you get releases and you leverage those releases by posting them, reaching out to other people. Like let's say you make a project, you reach out to other people involved in that project. Just do whatever you can to leverage those releases to get more and more and more, and you start climbing. And as this is going on, this is the stuff that you can control. And as this is going on, like we're only talking about the stuff that you do control. But honestly, the best opportunities kind of happens at random. But this is how you get to those random opportunities, by putting yourself in the right environments, in the right positions, in the right circles. And that's actually step 4, which is to take daily action. If you do this once a week, or if you do this heavily for like a month and you stop, it's not going to work. This takes time. The music business moves slowly. Like you'll make something today and you won't see the fruits of your labor until like 6 months down the line. You just want to take daily action and keep doing these things. Spend time networking daily. I would say 100 minutes minimum. So that's like 1 hour, 30 minutes-ish. Spend that time networking daily. Then, of course, you got to spend time making beats or taking sessions. Like if you have sessions, do that instead of beats. And you got to be able to do this daily for a year, for 2 years, for whatever amount, until you achieve what you want. And just show up every day, no matter what. And as long as you keep climbing and you keep leveraging the opportunities that you have, to get more, to get bigger and better artists, then this is gonna work. But it's gonna take time and it's gonna take a lot of effort. And if you just buckle down, focus on these daily actions, you'll make it eventually.